Okay.
Hi,
Hi,
Marco.
everyone.
Hi, Marco.
This is February 12th. I want y'all to notice the light is just right for our background.
I
Oh my
see that.
God,
I
it's
love it.
beautiful.
Beautiful.
Landscape. Yeah, the mountain looks incredible tonight, and I can see a nice sunset in front of me. So, yeah, we're gonna have a good night, and we're gonna start out talking about the Walk for Peace that's been going on. I'll say more about that in a minute, but let's start with our icebreakers. And so Leo's going to bring us the icebreaker. So please say the name you want to be called, your pronouns, and the answer to the icebreaker question.
What?
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Leo, pronouns he, him. And today's question is, would you rather be able to meet your great great grandparents or your great great grandchildren, and why? For me, it would definitely have to be my great great grandparents. Uh, the reason why, because I got to meet my great grandma, but of course, not my great great grandma. And I don't know, I would just like to get the chance to talk to her uh, more about where we come from, our lineage, her wisdom, her teachings, and my grandfather's teachings too. So, yeah.
Mhm. Yes. Hi everybody. My name's Jared. My pronouns are any and all. And um I definitely as well great great grandparents, because I don't know if y'all remember, but my Filipino side, we went through the Bata and Death March. And so we actually, like our parents, they didn't actually get to know anything about our culture. They killed all the adults and left everybody under the age of like 11. And so like if and it was specifically my great great grandparents that were killed. And so like I would really like to know, right? Like I would really like to undo this harm. And it's exact same thing from my father's side, as an African American male as well. Like they don't know their culture, like but he did, but like he because of a lot of the things he died early. So yeah, like I really would like to meet both on both sides, just to reclaim some of that culture, the traditions, and all the things.
Wow, that's beautiful. Okay. I you know, I can definitely see the appeal to meeting, great great grandchildren, but seeing as how I probably won't have any grandchildren or
That makes that decision easy, right?
so I guess I could think of imagination, but I would love to meet my great great grandparents. And I mean, we've heard a lot of my family. My mom was actually pretty active in she not just a little bit in terms of her family history, but very active in my dad's side of the family in collecting a lot of history and lore and so it's pretty interesting. But I mean, I hear good things, and I know that they left um, Germany, or well, some of them left Germany. So, but on one side, it was my great grandparents instead of my great great, because of all that was happening there. So, seems a lot of parallels. So that's my answer. Did I say Carol? She, her? That's
No, you didn't, but that's okay. We figured out who you were.
all right. All right, Marco, your turn.
Hey,
Are you done, Miss Carol?
I was
Go.
Marco's being slow answering. Are you able to answer?
yeah, thank you. Hello, everybody. My name Michael.
Go.
Hey, you. My guy can get about my papa.
Yeah, you know your grandfather.
Yeah, you guy. I want to get you because you made it
So you'd
me.
like to meet his grandparents?
Yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool,
Yeah.
wouldn't it?
you guy.
Yeah. He was named after what a great great yeah, anyway, and Marco has that middle name to carry on that that bit of the family name. Okay, Janice.
I apologize. I didn't know you were going to Marco for the question, so I apologize.
Okay.
Okay, so I will pick my great great grandchildren. For those who don't know, my mother's mom was a lady of the night, and she had my mother, and my mother was raised by her grandparents, and they were migrant workers. Mother lived in tents, and they traveled around, and that's how they did that. So my mom's mom, my dad's parents were alcoholics, and they died in their 40s. So I never got to meet them. But my mom's mom, which we did see quite often growing up, okay, she never hugged me. She never told me she loved me, ever. So I'm kind of I don't care for that. I might with and my mother doesn't know her dad. Okay, so I would pick my great great grandchildren. And I only have one daughter, so it's probably not like I'd have a whole bunch, but I feel like my daughter is the best mother in the world. If you could meet her sons, you will know why. But anyway, I would pick my great great grandchildren. Do what?
You mean Colton?
Yes, he's one of them. Yes, yeah.
I met Colton. Well, yeah.
I know. And you probably remember Ian. Whenever he was a newborn, I was bringing him to church every Sunday. He was a week old when I first brought him to the church. So
That is special. Those are great connections to have, and what a sense of community. Thank you, Janice.
Thank you.
Gregor?
So that's a tough question for me because back when I was maybe 19 or 20, I was only accused of being a potential father of someone, and so my great great grandchildren that I would have had no input in their life whatsoever, if I do have a child running around out there, I don't know their name. I don't know, it just seemed to me like it was after the statement was made, it seemed like it was 12 months later that the baby was born. And I was like, well, that's a little bit too long on the calendar.
Yeah.
Okay, but then going back to my great great grandparents, there's some difficulty there too, because these are the very Europeans, that came over to this country and helped create the situation that we're in right now. So my answer is no.
That's an answer.
Option. That's an original answer. I love it.
Yes.
And yeah, I hope I don't know I know that you all know that I was in a coaching group with Evangeline, but I don't know if I shared the name of it. It was called New Ancestors. And so that kind of the theme is, we're a product of where we came from, but we can redo some of that learning and create new communities and support each other. So, Kreger, I think that goes along with what you were saying. So we can be your new ancestors.
Yeah.
Chosen,
You too, Janet.
chosen ancestors.
Yes. And let's be good ancestors for even those of us who don't have kids. We can be good ancestors for the next generations. Next gen.
Yes.
The next gen.
Yeah.
All right. Tonight, I just I felt like we needed a little bit of hope, and there was just too much going on to talk about. I was going to bring in. We've been talking forever about when we're going to talk about pleasure politics and some fun, sexy things, but there was just too much other things going on to do that tonight. So, how many of you have heard much about the monks, the Walk for Peace, the Buddhist monks?
I've heard.
I'm only just aware that that it took place. I've not seen any specific coverage or protests against them or anything So yeah, I'm anxious to hear what happened, what's going on with this.
Well, I think they completed their walk yesterday. They were scheduled to finish today, but I think they got where they needed to, and so I haven't. I looked for and have not found any coverage from today, but basically, I think it started with like 19 Buddhist monks from their healing center in Fort Worth, and they've been walking 2,300 miles. Oh, I just saw how many days, like 153 days or something like that. Um, um, to walk from Fort Worth to Washington, D.C.
Wow.
So they started in October and they're just getting there now. So, so that I'm probably wrong on how many days that is. Anyway, I'm just gonna read a little segment one that one of the monks wrote. I tried to post it in the chat, but it was too long and I couldn't edit on the fly quick enough. So I'm just going to read some parts of it. In a world that rushes toward the next deadline, the next paycheck, and the next notification, the sight of a monk walking slowly along a highway makes people pause. Modern conflict blurs past, but the monk moves in a steady pace and stays with the present moment. This is the heart of the walk for peace. I'm not going to try to say names. As people watch this journey, they see something deeper than distance. The miles across America matter less than the inner miles walked through the heart. Peace is not only a political idea, peace is a daily practice. Peace is a way of meeting life, even when the weather changes, the body aches, and the road feels endless. The journey also highlights determination. The walk faced harsh weather, people got sick, the body struggled, still the vow held them steady. A mindful life is not a life without storms. A mindful life holds purpose through storms. The walk also shows community. Children came out in the cold to watch, supporters lined roads, people offered food, care, and kindness. The monks did not walk alone. The mission lives through the people who witness it and carry it forward. One question keeps echoing. Does it help? It does not matter what label you hold. It does not matter what you eat. It does not matter what group you claim. If your path makes you kinder and more peaceful, walk it. If it turns you rigid, angry, and judgmental, drop it. Peace starts where your feet touch the ground.
Mm.
That line about if the path makes you kinder and more peaceful, walk it.
Yeah,
For some
I like
reason, yeah. And Jared, that made me think of you for some reason. I think you've talked about how you choose your path, and that just made me think of you. But all of that just, oh my gosh, I just think it's so meaningful to go that far. And I mean, they had support, but as my understanding, Buddhist monks do, they have one bowl. They don't eat in the evening. They take food that's given to them. There were some big discussions um, about whether they should eat vegetarian or not. And so I read a big one of this same monk wrote a big piece about, you know, uh, we try to be vegetarian, but if people give us food, as long as we don't see the animal killed um, know directly about it, then we will accept that. Otherwise, we would be like kicked out of being a monk. We couldn't be a monk anymore. But but when it's given in love, I guess it's taken differently. And he said it's just he ba the way I took it, he basically said to be judgmental about that is worse than than breaking the rules. It's just we need to just accept each other, and what religion you are, what you eat is not what's important. That's part of what that last paragraph was about. Hi, Lynn.
Hi, Lynn.
And
Hi,
Talking
Lynn.
about the walk for peace. Kreger?
You're on mute. There you go.
This to me is reminiscent of the book of Luke when Jesus is talking to the disciples and telling them to kind of like go out, go out
Yeah.
and if they don't receive you, kind of like shake the dust off your feet and move on. And I imagine if these monks really walked for, according to Google, 108 days and 2,300 miles, there must have been some Republicans along the path,
Yeah, they I think they didn't have a whole lot of attention at the beginning, but there was an accident at the beginning, and one of the monks had to have an amputation
Mm.
of his leg, and he was shown in the walk in a chair that had been gifted to him, in a power chair that um or some power device.
Okay.
Anyway, but they didn't they got a lot of protesters in the past like month as they started getting farther east and going through the south. They did have some protesters, and there were some of the observers who said that things got a little more um, uh, chaotic, and like the atmosphere got uglier for a little while, but then it seemed to get better as people came. But in terms of getting ugly, it wasn't just the protesters, it was also the people that came to see them that didn't seem to ask about the rules or anything like that. And like the monks aren't supposed to touch women, and so there were a lot of women grabbing at some of the monks,
Oh,
and just some sad things like that weren't good.
so one of my favorites, because this is mentioned in what you just read, may you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind. May you be at ease and happy. And I wonder if that's what they were chanting as they were, because this is one of these ancient mindfulness meditations that have come down through, the decades, the years, whatever. And I have it saved because whenever I'm having difficulty with a person, and Janice, hear me now, Janice. When we're having difficulty with a person, hold their face in your mind and say to them, may you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind. May you be at ease and happy. And you know what happens when you do that? Well, when I do it, I calm down, okay? I calm down, right? I don't know what happens to the other person, but I. All right, thank you.
All right, Jared and Leo.
oh no, yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, the leader or the monk leading the walk talked about how drivers would like honk at them and say rude things, and also like big trucks would step on the gas so that the black smoke will be released from
Oh, man.
exhaust. But he did talk about, but he did say for the most part everyone was kind to them. Yeah. And my favorite was the little dog.
Yes.
What was his name?
Aloka, I think.
Loka,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yes.
Or Anoka.
Yeah, Aloka. And he became a internet sensation.
Super.
What?
George, we're talking about the walk for peace that the Buddhist monks did. They just arrived in Washington, And we're greeted by a multi-faith coalition, including Mary and Buddy. Do y'all remember who she is? She's a Episcopal priest, maybe a bishop. I think a bishop, and she was the one who got in such trouble for the inaugural prayer that she did, asking Trump for.
Oh, yes. Okay. Thank you. And now I know who she is. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, have you been following it, George? Or Lynn? Lynn just hasn't been here long either, George.
Well, I saw there's a huge article in the Houston Chronicle about the walk. And so I read that. I really wasn't aware of it because I'm not on social media, to any great extent. But there was a very well done article about and some pictures about the walk, and it was heartwarming. What I thought about it was, there's always someone who's willing to stick their neck out, to put their faith on the line,
Yes.
so that others can see. So
And one of the things that's unique about them is that they're not trying to, they're not trying to like recruit anybody to their faith. They're not trying to, they didn't say anything specific. They just, walked for peace. They didn't say, this is how we define peace. This is what you need to do to achieve peace. I mean, not in so many words. They led by example.
right.
They had music and just chants and prayers and but I mean they didn't specifically say you need to change this law or you need to they didn't try to say you need to come walk with us. No, this was their walk.
No, we're doing what we're doing, and they led by example, and it's kind of like, be the change you want to see. I'm not
Exactly.
preaching to you, be the change you want to see, and they were it. It was a very heartwarming story, in the Houston Chronicle. Big maybe 2.5 page story with a big picture. So yeah, I saw that. I have been following that. I followed it in that way, but I thought it was just really a wonderful example of a Christ-like behavior.
I agree. I found it very hopeful and very positive. And I think we need some positivity in these times. And
Yeah.
Chaos and confusion that comes out of the White House every day. Yeah, we need some calm and comfort. Yeah.
okay, so we can kind of, yes, George?
Yeah, I see them on Facebook. They're posted every day on Facebook, and I'm sorry I haven't followed them that closely. I do know that they have been met with not some negativity, and most of it's been positive. I do have a question. What do they do at night? When do they rest? When do they stop walk? Do they have a
I didn't ask about where they rested, but I think they have just sites along the path that they
have a place to stay and
yeah.
comfort and
They-
stuff?
yeah,
Yeah.
and they stop and they do chants and sometimes they have like a press conference sort of a thing.
Okay.
And then they rest for the night, but they get up pretty early, and I think like most Buddhist monks, I said this earlier before you got on, they don't eat at night. They have like one bowl and people can fill their bowls, and they but they don't eat after lunch.
Oh, okay.
They depend on other people for food.
Okay.
And
And how many of them are
the
there?
limits of what they could accept in terms of gifts. But like people would give them flowers and food. And I saw one lady who had lost her beloved dog, gave a leash for a
The
loca.
puppy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just
So how many of them are there? Like 20 or
19, I think.
19 monks? Okay.
But
There's about like 20.
did that one
19.
monk finish the walk, the one with the that had the
Believe-
leg?
Yeah, I believe he was able to join them back. I saw a picture of them together. I think it was from yesterday. So, Yeah, and they'll be flying back to Fort Worth, I guess, probably tomorrow, I
So
suspect.
they're out of Fort Worth?
Mhm.
Ah, yeah, I didn't know where they traveled. I know they traveled across the US.
From
And
Fort Worth to DC.
oh, okay. And what happened when it was bad weather?
Well, they kept walking. They kept walking. They were prepared to stop if they had to. And
Okay.
they may have for just like a few hours or something, and they did get extra um clothing.
Those?
They
Okay.
and so because I think a lot of the walk they did barefoot, but
Yeah, that's what
when it
I
was
thought.
real icy, it looked like they had boots on.
Okay.
So the one monk talked about his robe and how he made it from just a patchwork. He sewed it together from
Oh,
bits of cloth that he picked up from the side of the road. And I think this was before um, coming to the U.S. And like discarded just tatters from old monks' robes and things like that. He just pieced together this patchwork thing, and so that was kind of symbolic of of letting things go, of making the best
hmm.
of what we have. Um, I thought that was a beautiful symbolism as
I
well.
guess we could go back on Facebook and look them up, and they probably have their journey. So,
I guess I was gesturing too much, and yes, Krager.
So I'm not sure how old these monks are, but well, Jared got 18 days. I got 19 when I looked it up on Google. I got 19 monks. Jared got 18, but what I got
And
was
from the
2,300 miles and 108 days. That equates to 21.2 miles per day. And as someone that walks between 5 to 10 miles a day, that's, I mean, but I'm 63 too. That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure how old these monks were, but walking 10 miles in a day is pretty arduous. Um, not considering external weather factors like rain and, wind or whatever. But so I'm just saying, not an easy task, especially trying to do it in this meditative state of,
Oh yeah,
loving kindness.
yeah. Yeah, I just think that's really beautiful and a good example for us all. So, do y'all want to keep talking about this a little bit, or shall I bring up something new?
Bring up something new.
Is it the best?
Okay,
My vote.
Bad Bunny. I want to talk about Bad Bunny. I loved it.
I
I
didn't see it.
so much.
It was so good.
And I posted something on the God Talk Facebook page about uh just kind of somebody that kind of I thought broke it down real beautifully about all the symbolism and translating some of the most important lines and things like that. So so what an exuberant just community building kind of performance. That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was super cute.
Very symbolic.
Mm-hmm.
Very symbolic.
Yes.
all the performers they had through the whole thing though was very collective.
Mm-hmm.
Like Brandy Carlisle. I thought America the Beautiful. I've never seen it performed so beautiful, and the musicians behind her were great. And I thought that was beautiful. I didn't even know. I don't really know who she is, but I guess I do now.
You didn't know who Brandy Carlisle was?
Oh, I'm sorry. She's a lesbian. I know now.
Yeah, and they had the Native American ASL
Yes.
interpretation behind her.
oh my God.
And but there was a lot of talk in the deaf communities about how that was really the only thing where ASL was available throughout the
Oh,
whole game. None of the halftime performance, none of that.
oh.
So, so yeah, I think that was a real shame. But you
Yeah.
did mention Lady Gaga. Um,
Mhm.
and I was wondering when they came to the wedding, was that real? And it was.
Mhm. Mhm.
That was
Mhm.
only one of the only um, well, one of the funniest comments I heard was from my Steamy Stethoscope group. Somebody wrote, I wouldn't dare risk getting married in front of Bad Bunny. I mean, what if Bad Bunny became available?
Nah, I love it.
Thought that was funny. Anyway, okay, Janice.
I was going to say I didn't watch it, but I recorded it because I wanted to see the halftime, and I also enjoyed the new commercials,
Mhm.
that they have. So that's what I'm going to do when I have an hour. I'm just going to skip through the game, go to the commercials, skip through um halftime, and then finish up watching just the commercials.
Mhm. Mhm.
Maybe now that we're talking about it, you can catch a lot more of the symbolism than I caught the first time I saw
Yeah,
it.
I've heard a lot from people and seen a lot. So yes, apparently it was wonderful.
But yeah, it was clearly all about community and just family and and just
Yeah,
just life in Puerto Rico
yeah,
and life across the Americas. Yeah. Lynn, did you take down your hand?
No, what I wanted to say is that you just said it. Life across the Americas. I loved the fact that he said, God bless America. And then he named countries in South America, in United States of America is not all America, the be all and end all of America. Yeah, it just happened to be the United States of America. Yeah, there's South America, and there's North America. And I love that. And I'm not bilingual, but I knew the point that he was making and what he was saying because I heard the countries as he was calling them out. And I love that part. Absolutely. That was my favorite part because that's what I got out. And I said, if I can understand it and I don't speak, I'm not fluent in Spanish at all. But I get that. I love that point that he was making because it was a world. It was we are like we are the world moment almost. you know, because the United States, you're not the only ones, who are Americans. There are other Americans too. And, truthfully, I think a lot of what is happening in terms of the anti-DEI and all of that is that the world is majority minority. And so if you're a white guy who's been on top, a white girl who's been on top all your life, and you realize that the world is majority, what you think of minority, that's kind of scary. So,
Yeah. And I think, there was a lot of talk about all the people who didn't understand that that he's a US citizen and all of this. That was so silly for the people who didn't understand that. But I didn't even realize that there were so many people who had been halftime performers previously who were not US citizens. I didn't That was a point that didn't get across very much. But
yeah,
anyway.
it's amazing how ignorant we are. Puerto Rico is not a foreign country.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and there are a lot
Greg,
of
I
people.
hope you're our musician. Uh, so maybe I'm hoping you'll say something about the musical style or something like that.
Porque español es mi segundo idioma. Era muy feliz con el espectáculo de Bad Bunny en la música. Fue muy emocionante y quiero bailar mucho a la, a, a las tambores sí. So, because Spanish is my second language, I was so happy with the halftime show, and to me as a drummer, and they had the beat, they had the rhythm going, and it made me want to dance, and it made me want to get up off my seat and dance, and it was fun. It was, I mean, when you go back and you look at all of the meaning that was behind the scenes, it's kind of like last year's performance by Kendrick Lamar, who incidentally won a Grammy for Luther this year. Uh, but I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it was just
Yeah, it
fantastic for
wasn't.
me.
I think I read that the style of music, what's it called? Reggaeton? Or
Well,
well, it originated in Puerto Rico, but kind of became a global sensation a long time ago. But I think it originated in Puerto Rico. Jared and Leo?
Yeah, I was just gonna say the rhythm and in music, it's universal. You really don't have to understand the words to get up and dance,
Yeah.
and that's what's so great about it. Um, and also, my question to y'all is, how many of y'all were singing when the Backstreet Boys came on?
That karaoke.
The karaoke, the blue screen.
No, there was like a
Tell Me
commercial.
Why. No, did y'all miss
Oh,
it?
okay. So there was like a commercial, right, where they had like a karaoke commercial,
And it was just blue
and
screen
it was
with
like
the
blue screen with the
lyrics.
lyrics and stuff on. Oh my god, we had to.
My husband and I started singing
Yeah.
automatically.
Yeah, we're like, wait a second.
Oh, that's fun. That's really fun.
But also, I kind of want to touch on like kind of like the differences in medias. So like, do y'all notice how the infrastructure of the setting was very, very South American, was very, very, Latin America, right? And it was like you started off in the fields, you got the sugarcane fields, you got the landscape, the body, you actually had even
the street vendors.
Yeah, the street vendors, the paletas. Yes. And a lot of this I find is very similar to like what the differences between like North American media, right, and South American media, right? North American media does this thing where they like to deal in illusions, right? They like to show you the nicest hotel. They like to show you the glitziest car, the most extravagant dress, right? All the things that you will likely never see in your life in person, right? Or never wear, never experience personally, right? Illusions, right? But like what I find in Latin American like media, right, when we're watching the movies or like even just the music and the art, right, it's the feeling that it captures isn't an illusion. It's more like a longing for home, a celebration of culture, of the familiar, right? And like a soul by soul connection, right, with the mundane, right, in a way that sort of praises the mundane, right? And because I remember whenever I first started watching, Latin American like shows with my husband and stuff, I couldn't understand the artistic angle, right?
And people have so little that the one common thing that they share a lot in Latin countries is food, and you could see it on. I'm sorry, you could see it from when he was going from the street vendors to street vendors. He grabbed one object from one street vendor and gave it to somebody else.
Yes.
He was always giving something.
Yes, and like that, I just love how the Bad Bunny captured.
The only thing he took, if y'all noticed, was a shot.
Yeah. We're not gonna talk about it. But I just love how he captured that same media angle of love and understanding and connection with culture. That I've seen a lot of North American media try to erase, within their own cultures, because every white person, for instance, right, has a homeland, right? And you don't see those homelands in their medias really in a way that's real and connective and longing and loving and worshipful. Even in those weird, ancient ones were like Outlander and stuff. It doesn't have the same love and reverie that we get in just about every single South American film.
Gregor?
Okay, Leo, I was wondering if you knew. Okay, so I'd seen two stories about Bad Bunny handing the Grammy Award to the little boy, and so one story
To his
was it
younger
was
self. To his
okay, yeah.
younger
So
self.
one story was he was handing the Grammy to his younger self, saying, "You could do anything." But I saw a separate story saying it was for some kid that had something to do with ice. So maybe that one was made up, or
Yeah, I heard that debunked, or I saw it on some post that
okay.
some people thought it was that boy with disabilities who was taken by ICE and recently let loose, let free.
Released.
About that too.
Hi, Cash. Cash is here.
Hi, Cash. Tell everybody hi. Say hi.
Well, the thing that I did that was real for me,
Thank
that
you.
the other part that I enjoyed is that we have visited Puerto Rico and spent about 5 days and 4 nights there. And it it felt very real to me. The 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 scenery, the sights that Bad Bunny had. It was like being in Puerto Rico again. Some of the colors. It was because we didn't just get in the Airbnb and stay. We were actually out in the city, walking the streets, and interacting with, and it felt like being in Puerto Rico again. We were there right before Christmas, and everybody's saying, "You ought to stay for Christmas. You guys can't leave for Christmas because really we're gonna really have a good time at Christmas." And so I was telling my brother, uh, his family and I, and we went, and there were probably about 12 of us, and we were just every day we were in the streets of Puerto Rico, and I'm like, I'm ready to go back to Puerto Rico now. Let's go back. So that felt very real to me. You were talking about the culture and homeland, Jerry, and I could feel it. Yeah, I felt it very, very. It was tangible. Yeah.
Is that where Sandy and Shirley live? Costa Rica?
Yeah, Costa Rica, Puerto Rico. They rhyme, but
In Costa Rica.
So we are talking about two different places?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Great.
Been a while since I've had taken geography.
Janice was sick the day they taught geography at school.
Probably. You also have to remember I'm blonde underneath all this color. It's okay. I don't mind the blonde jokes, y'all. I get it. I can be a
in
Karen.
addition to talking about Puerto Rico, and they had and just there were some very Jared and Leo already mentioned the sugarcane fields, which were so important in the history of Puerto Rico, but also the power lines. And I mean, I don't know if y'all remember seeing in the news about, I mean, it wasn't just like a blackout. I mean,
Right.
it was forever.
Absolutely. And when I saw the people on the poles, the power lines, I went right back there because it was just so real. It was just that this was a real thing.
Yeah, and it brought the people
Texas?
out. I mean that's not that I mean, it just terrible the way that people had the things that people had to put up with and the suffering that came just because um uh Puerto Rico wasn't a priority, and because other things were fun anyway. I mean, we can talk all night about all the reasons for it, but it's injustice is what it is. But it did bring people out and got people together, and the community really pulled together during a lot of those times, and so I think that really showed through in the music, as well as the diaspora, and like when he took the shot. I mean, I think he was more in the in the uh like in New York, in the neighborhoods, in the
Right.
and so I think he brought it all together for people all over. Yay, what a fun thing that we've um I'm glad we got to talk about some fun things tonight.
Yeah, yeah,
Kreger?
boy. Yeah, yeah.
So I have a question for one of our other panelists, Jared. I was wondering if you are familiar with Reverend Christopher Joseph San Jose from Open Table MCC in the Philippines. I know MCC has celebrated him and sent George. We've sent funds to Open Table for how many years now? You're on mute.
4 or 5 years, and we continue to do that. Yeah. And
So I
we're
was
gonna
just
do it, start it in May this year instead of having it in November where there's a lot of stuff going on. We're gonna hopefully start it in May and do the month of May for the church, for their church.
so what's it called when not when Reverend Christopher Joseph came to Resurrection? It's not a residency. What do they call it when they do the
Internship.
Yes,
Yeah.
he did the
He was here.
internship. Yeah,
Yeah.
he did the internship at RMCC. And so I just wondered if you were familiar or had ever even heard of him. Like,
Yes, actually, because I do watch their on, I have seen their online stuff, and I really love that they have clear, visible stances on things like Palestine and genocides, right? It's something long. Yes, he talks clearly, consistently, about these issues because there are Muslims in the Philippines, right? There are people who need, that representation. There's also Muslims in America, in Houston too, right? And so, like, I am so excited for our church to follow suit with the people that they've brought to the Philippines.
Have you ever watched when Dandy preached?
No, no.
That's the only sermon I've watched from there, just because I became Facebook friends with her after we met at General Conference. And there were so many people from Open Table who were denied visas or whatever.
Oh
It
man.
was very, very sad. But anyway, but Dandy made it, and then she spent a lot of time in the States before she went back, California, New York, everywhere. And anyway, so she's quite the fashionista. They um they are quite the fashionista. So I I'll have to share some her stuff, their stuff on Facebook if anybody's interested.
Yes.
They
Please.
have Corey too, so
Ooh.
I'm sure they would enjoy having their wares shared. But I loved I loved the sermon that I heard them do. So anyway, so we're running out of time. Why don't we do a one word description of how we're feeling? Why don't we go in the order that we started, Leo?
I will say peaceful and joyful.
I would say hopeful.
I'll go along with happy. We'll both be happy.
Okay.
Okay, Janice?
I'm on nurse duty, so I guess I don't know what to say with that. Overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I kind of started out that way, but I got, but y'all brought me around.
I can see the difference in your face from when you first started to now. Big difference. So you're right.
Wow, thank you. Kreger?
Grateful.
Lynn?
Oh, you're on mute.
I am feeling joyful for this gathering and the discussions that we've had tonight. And I am feeling anxious because my surgery is scheduled for Wednesday, Ash Wednesday. So anxious and joyful.
We'll be praying for you, Lynn.
Any prayer?
Thank you. I appreciate that. I won't be with you next Thursday. I'll still be in the hospital. So, but my surgery is Ash Wednesday.
Well,
Well, there's got to be something positive about that, right?
yes.
Yeah, you finished. You're just a holiday person. You finished your chemo on New Year's Eve, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Lynn, what kind of surgery you having Wednesday?
Yeah, removing a tumor.
Can I put it on our prayer list?
Sure.
You know, you've been on and off the prayer list, Lynn, on the noon devotional. And so, George, we're going to put you back on then with your permission. Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
put
we
me
have
back
to ask your
on.
permission.
And we'll pray for you every day, sweetie.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you. I appreciate
Well,
it.
we love you. The prayer group loves everybody, right? That's our job. We pray for everybody, and you got to love people you're praying for, right? Well, maybe not.
Maybe I was just
maybe-
about to interrupt you, Craig, and say, well,
Because you don't know what some people are praying for. I want you to pray for my good health.
When
Pray
I
for the
first,
doctors.
I was a nurse when I was a nursing student when I got, hospice wasn't always a thing, and there was this amazing nun that brought the whole concept and the reality of hospice and I got to go through her rotation, and so we would start our little morning meetings and talking about everybody with prayer, and she would sometimes pray like, God, please bless that poor, stupid idiot that gave that. And then with her Irish accent, it was just perfect.
Yeah.
Bless.
Anyway, so Kreger, I trust that you will not pray in that.
Yes,
You can pray however Spirit leads you.
All right. Holy Spirit, Holy God, Holy Mother, and Holy Father, we're grateful to have this conversation again tonight. It's been maybe a little bit more uplifting than conversations that we have had in the past, but we're grateful for each participant here tonight. And I personally just want to express gratitude that the people in this room, we have access. We have access to information to educate ourselves, information such as How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram Kendi. And so let us educate ourselves each and every day in terms of how to be focused on higher spirituality, higher loving, higher giving, higher all of that stuff. You know, let us not get down in the gutter with the people who have nothing but hate and criticism coming out of their mouths. Help us to dig ourselves out of the muck and raise ourselves into the sight of your unconditional love. We ask this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Craig.
Amen. Before we leave, George, you started talking about the prayer list, and I neglected to hear what emotion you're feeling. I didn't mean to
Oh,
leave you out, but
okay.
Marco reminded me.
Well, I get a double whammy on this last Thursday, this Thursday, and next Thursday because I get to be with BM for about 20, 30 minutes from Extravagant Generosity. And it's been a pleasure getting to know her. And then I get to come here and get half of you guys for half the time. And I already know the group. So probably peaceful and nice.
Hey, beautiful.
And thankful that I get to have two Zoomies in 1 hour.
And so if I may just tell Jared and Leo, I'm gonna miss the Friday night call the next 2 weeks. Tomorrow, Paul and I are coming to Houston because
Yeah, I'm
I'll be
going to take us
singing
off
with
recording.
Forever Blessed at Ken's